Why are you focusing on disabled people of color? Why not make your program for everyone? Aren't you being a bit divisive? In today's video, we're going to be discussing racism plus ableism and how can you fight it? Welcome to folks who may be new to me or the named advocates. My name is Carrie Gray and I identify as a Black disabled woman. I'm the founder of the National Alliance of Melanin Disabled Advocates. We go by the named advocates, and our content is about racial and disability topics. I'm excited to share this video is in partnership with Chicago Disabled People of Color Coalition and the Autistic Women and Non-Binary Network. Let's first contextualize what it means to experience both racism and ableism at the same time. Over the years, I've had the pleasure of managing several programs that support my disabled comrades who are seeking job placements. And according to the Department of Labor, people without disabilities have an unemployment rate of about 3.8%. Whereas people with disabilities have an unemployment rate of 7.5%. Disabled people of color have an unemployment rate as high as 12.4%. Wow. So let's ask ourselves, does this mean that disabled people of color are less hireable, less skilled, less suitable for the workplace? The answer to that is a definite no. Instead, this data highlights that people of color with disabilities are having a harder time obtaining work because of both racism and ableism. So racism is the complex system of beliefs and behaviors grounded in a presumed superiority of the white race. These beliefs and behaviors are conscious and unconscious, personal and institutional, and result in the repression of people of color and benefit the dominant group. Now, ableism is the discrimination of and social prejudice against people with disabilities based on the belief that typical abilities are superior. At its heart, ableism is rooted in the assumption that disabled people require fixing and defines people by their disability. Ableism classifies entire groups of people as less than and includes harmful stereotypes, misconceptions, and generalizations of people with disabilities.
This is known as intersectionality. Intersectionality is how your daily life is affected by the many identities you hold. Some identities can be seen as more privileged than others, depending on how society supports certain identities. You may hear people compare intersectionality to diversity. While both deal with supporting and gathering marginalized communities, intersectionality and diversity are two different things. Think of diversity and intersectionality as soup and salad. A soup has different ingredients where textures, tastes, and scents come together to form one dish. Like soup, diversity is when the marginalized and the majority are represented to depict one community. On the other hand, a salad is also considered one dish with a unified taste or smell. But a salad contains many ingredients represented by their distinct flavors, colors, textures, and more. Think of intersectionality as a salad, where you are the bowl that holds many different identities that affect you in many ways.
Our community is experiencing discrimination because of the stigma and bias associated with being a Black wheelchair user with dreads. They are experiencing discrimination about using our mobility aids at work and because of the darker skin. They are experiencing discrimination because of our request for accommodations and because of the ethnic nature of our names and hairstyles and all of the things in which we wear, all of that combined. I don't want people to think that this just applies to corporate America or big companies. No, this applies to jobs at nonprofits, orgs that are committed to human rights, organizations that are built to support the movement are still struggling with these issues. For the named advocates, becoming an advocate for communities of colors was not enough. Being an advocate for the disability community was not enough. Instead, disability justice calls for us to fight against both racism and ableism. We define disability justice as a set of principles and an approach to advance access and inclusion for disabled people. It specifically centers the experiences of those most marginalized, such as people of color, women, and LGBTQ folks. I definitely want to acknowledge Sins Invalid, their 10 Principles of Disability Justice. Sins Invalid is an incredible organization that celebrates artists with disabilities. They also released 10 Principles of Disability Justice to distribute guiding principles towards operationalizing disability justice. Their principles include priorities such as intersectionality, prioritize the leadership of those most impacted, interdependence, and more. For the named advocates, our principles are grounded in fighting against racism plus ableism. Our principles call for us to be educators around disability issues and identity. They also call for us to encourage and affirm BIPOC leaders around disability topics. So, as leaders, we can really struggle with how to jump in. How do we turn our principles into practice? What is the work that is necessary to fight racism plus ableism? Well, there's 3 recommendations I want to give. 1, definitely start with your research. Right? You need to be looking up and understanding, how do I recognize racism? How do I recognize ableism? How do I be able to see where there's opportunities for us to do more? That starts with doing the research. The second recommendation is find your tribe. This work of organizing, this work of advocating takes allyship. It takes building relationship with folks to come together around a vision for inclusion. So having that tribe of folks around you is going to make a huge difference. And the third recommendation we have is to start organizing. The work is always there, it's always present. And so taking one step in the door and saying, yes, I'm going to build this program. Yes, I'm going to start this campaign. Yes, I'm going to get involved in my community. All of that is part of the work that is necessary. But let's hear some thoughts from our partners at Chicago Disabled People of Color Coalition about defining the work.
As an ally, doing the work to fight for freedom for all requires more than just reading about marginalized communities, donating money to the cause, knowing the names of activists or organizers, or saying phrases like Black Lives Matter. We want warriors who are willing to fight with us and for us, no matter how difficult the journey may get. We want allies who connect with us on deeper levels. Here are some examples of ways that you, as an ally, can do the work. Getting to know our stories and learn from us. Talk and connect with us. Join us in social gatherings and hang out with us. Volunteer to help us in advocacy campaigns by using your talents that you can offer to the movement.
Yes, friend, I couldn't agree more. Thankfully, we have some incredible organizations and leaders who are actively doing the work. Shout out to Pro Bono ASL, Chicago Disabled People of Color Coalition, Michigan Disability Rights Coalition Lead Project, Sins Invalid. These are just a couple of the organizations that teach me what it means to explore BIPOC disabled identity. They teach me how to contribute towards our overall culture. They teach me how to push the boundaries and break down doors to industries that have not traditionally included us. They teach us how to do the work necessary to advance disability justice. Ultimately, there are so many ways to plug into this work. Here are a couple of key takeaways that encourage you on how to get involved. 1, determine your disability justice principles. We just went over so many in this video today about certain things that we stand for when we're making day-to-day decisions about programming, initiatives, campaigns. What are your principles? What are the things that are going to guide you into your leadership practice and your journey on disability justice? 2, I want to encourage you to add creativity and boldness in the movement. We need bold leaders. We need creative visions. We need folks who want to take their efforts to the next level because that is what our community deserves. Unfortunately, things will fall behind the wayside if we are not drawing the attention of our people. It invites your creativity. It invites your boldness into this movement. And then 3rd, I want to encourage you to develop a sustainable path. One of the things that we see time and time again is that our organizers, our advocates, they burn out. There's so many different ways to get involved, and they did not single in and recognize capacity. Always think about, how can I be a contributing factor in a way that is genuinely sustainable? So what do you think? What does it take to fight racism and ableism? What are ways that you have turned your principles into practice? Let us know in the comments below. All right, so thanks for tuning in. And as always, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the Named Advocates YouTube page and follow us on social media. This is an invitation to be a part of the Named Advocates community, where we are gathering leaders across the country around BIPOC disability justice principles and all of the issues that are surrounding our initiatives. Develop your leadership with us. We invite you to join and be a part of it.